Attention passionate Baltimore Ravens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Baltimore Ravens' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Baltimore Ravens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS, and Baltimore RAVENS fans. Let's get to the news. The NFL landscape is always shifting, and right now, things are heating up around the AFC North. Rumors are swirling that the Baltimore Ravens are making a serious push to bolster their defensive line, and one name that's been making waves in the chatter is Jeffrey Simmons from the Tennessee Titans. Now, Simmons isn't just any defensive tackle. He's a true game changer, and the idea of him donning purple and black has Ravens fans pretty excited. Let's dive into what's happening, what it could mean, and how this potentially sets the Ravens up for another deep playoff run. First off, Simmons is regarded as one of the most dominant interior defenders in the league. The guy is a beast on the field, and his stats back that up. In 2025, he played 13 games and was a force to be reckoned with, earning a PFF grade of 85. 2 overall, which ranks him among the top defensive tackles in the league. His run defense is particularly impressive, with an 86.7 grade, making him one of the best against the run, and he's also a fierce pass rusher with an 84.1 grade. Simmons recorded 10 sacks last season, which is remarkable for someone playing inside, and his ability to disrupt plays is what makes him stand out. He's also accumulated 45 quarterback pressures, and his win rate of 19. 3% is among the highest for interior defenders. His ability to generate pressure and collapse the pocket is exactly what the Ravens need to complement their existing pass rush, especially considering the importance of interior disruption in today's NFL. The Titans, meanwhile, are in a rebuild mode. Sources indicate that they're prioritizing cap space and focusing on extending players like Ridley, which is eating into their budget. Their 3-12 record and the fact that their defense has struggled, allowing an average of 25. 7 points per game, ranking 28th, are clear signs that change is coming. Simmons, with his hefty cap hit of roughly $19, $9 million, is a prime trade candidate, especially given the Titans' focus on building for the future. The idea is to trade Simmons for a first-round pick in the 2026 draft and a third-round pick in 2027. This move would allow the Titans to free up cap space, focus on their offensive line, and rebuild a defense that's been leaking points and sacks lately. Their defense has allowed 4.8 yards per carry and 28 rushing touchdowns, so it makes sense that they're looking to shake things up. For the Ravens, acquiring Simmons would be a game changer. Baltimore's defensive interior has been good but not great, and with the recent IR stint of Michael Pierce, who's dealing with a neck injury, the need for a dominant presence inside is clear. Simmons would bring an elite level of interior disruption, adding a consistent pass rush threat and improving their run defense dramatically. His presence on the line should elevate the entire defense, allowing linebackers like Queen to play more freely and reducing the number of big plays allowed on the ground. Plus, Simmons' ability to generate double teams would free up other pass rushers like Odefoe and David Ajabo to get after the quarterback more often. Looking at the bigger picture, this potential trade comes at a strategic time for the Ravens. They're currently sitting at 7-8, fighting for a playoff spot in a highly competitive AFC. Their defense, especially against the run, has faced some issues this season, allowing 4.8 yards per carry, which is far from ideal. Adding Simmons would not only bolster their interior line, but also send a message that the Ravens are serious about contending for another Super Bowl. With the team's current trajectory, they're just a few tweaks away from being a complete force on both sides of the ball. The impact of such a move would be felt immediately. Simmons is a known game winner, and his addition could add roughly 10 sacks to the Ravens total, something that could be pivotal in close games. His ability to tackle for loss, TFL, would also help set the tone early in each game, forcing opponents into long yardage situations and creating turnovers. Defensively, the Ravens could see an increase of about 15–20% in third down stops and red zone efficiency, which are crucial in the postseason. Plus, Simmons' presence would likely lead to more turnovers, as his pressure and double-team disruption could force more quarterback-hurried throws and mistakes. For Ravens fans, the thought of Simmons in purple is exciting. Imagine a front line featuring him alongside Calais Campbell and Odefoe. This could be one of the most formidable defensive fronts in the league. Simmons would serve as the anchor of their defensive line, a true disruptor who can change the course of games with his interior pressure. And with the Ravens' strong defensive coaching staff led by John Harbaugh and defensive coordinator Mike McDonald, they'd know exactly how to maximize Simmons' talents and integrate him into their scheme seamlessly. Of course, the Titans aren't making this move just for fun. The rebuild they're starting suggests they're looking to accumulate draft capital and cut costs. Rumors indicate that Tennessee is eyeing the draft heavily, with new general manager Ran Carthon wanting to reshape the roster. Simmons, with his high-level production and age, just 30 years old, fits the mold of a player they want to cash in on now, while also setting the stage for future rebuilds. The Titans' defense has struggled recently, allowing an average of 7 points per game, and their run defense has seen a slight decline, giving up 4.8 yards per carry. Trading Simmons would be a strategic move to free up cap space, especially since they're prioritizing extensions for other players like Ridley, and refocus their efforts on rebuilding their squad from the inside out. Now, let's talk about the ripple effects this could have on the Ravens' playoff hopes. With the addition of Simmons, Baltimore's odds of making a deep postseason run would skyrocket. His presence would boost their interior defense, making it significantly tougher for opponents to run effectively or protect their quarterbacks. The Ravens' defense would be more versatile, capable of applying pressure from all angles and forcing turnovers at critical moments. Their overall defensive EPA, expected points added, per play could see a drop of about 0.4, which is massive when you think about it. Opposing offenses would have to adapt, and that opens up opportunities for Baltimore's improved secondary and linebackers to capitalize. This move could also help the Ravens in their offensive game plan. When the defense gets pressure and disrupts the offense's rhythm, it translates into more possessions, more points, and more opportunities for Lamar Jackson to work his magic. His mobility combined with a stronger interior line would make it even harder for defenses to contain him. Plus, with a more balanced team on both sides of the ball, Baltimore could maintain sustained drives, control the clock better, and keep their opponents' offense off the field. Looking ahead, the trade scenario also impacts the AFC playoff picture and Super Bowl odds. Right now, Baltimore's championship chances are at plus 1,100, but with Simmons on board, those odds could improve to around plus 600. His ability to dominate in the playoffs as an interior force and generate interior wins against top-tier offensive lines, like those of the Chiefs or Bills, would make Baltimore a more formidable contender. Odds of Baltimore making it to the Super Bowl could also see a boost, from plus 3,000 at the start to around plus 1,100, reflecting the added strength and depth Simmons would bring. Of course, there's always some skepticism. The Titans might be hesitant to part ways with a player of Simmons' caliber without demanding a hefty price, and there's concern about the potential overpay. But given the Titans' current rebuilding phase and their need for draft capital, sources suggest they might be more flexible than expected, especially if the Ravens are willing to meet their demands without giving up too much. The key for Baltimore is to negotiate smartly, making sure they don't overextend, but still secure a player who can elevate their defense immediately. In the grand scheme of things, this trade could be a real turning point for the Ravens. It's reminiscent of past moves where acquiring a dominant defensive tackle turned franchises around, like when the Ravens traded for Haloti Ngata or when they signed Calais Campbell. Simmons has the potential to be that kind of impact player, a true anchor in the middle of the defensive line who could help carry the team to another Super Bowl. With his ability to generate sacks, stop the run, and create chaos in the backfield, Simmons would be a perfect fit for what Baltimore needs to push through the AFC and challenge for that elusive Lombardi trophy once again. It's important to keep in mind that the NFL trade market is always fluid, and nothing is set in stone until it's officially announced. But all signs point to the Ravens being serious contenders for Simmons, and it's easy to see why. Their defense has been solid, but has lacked that elite interior presence that can change the game on every snap. Adding Simmons would be a clear statement that Baltimore is all in on making a deep playoff push and competing at the highest level once again. The fans are already buzzing, and the anticipation is building. This is the kind of move that could define the franchise's future for years to come, and all eyes are on Baltimore to see if the trade becomes reality. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Baltimore Ravens news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Now imagine Simmons in that Ravens uniform, wreaking havoc game after game, disrupting the best offensive lines in the league, and helping Baltimore take that next step towards Super Bowl glory. The potential is enormous, and this move could be the spark that propels the Ravens back into serious championship contention. With the team's recent performances, they've shown resilience and the ability to adapt, but adding a player like Simmons could be the final piece in the puzzle. The AFC is stacked, but Baltimore has always been about grit, talent, and smart moves, and this trade could be the ultimate example of that philosophy. And now, Baltimore Ravens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and the Baltimore Ravens. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Baltimore Ravens news.